The interviews. First up, we have John F. Kennedy. So, what civil rights issue were you involved in? I strive to help equality. I don't believe that any person should be discriminated against, even on the regards of color of their skin. With my speech on civil rights in '63, I hope to make sure people are aware that this problem isn't going to go away. We need to guarantee freedom for all men, even people of color. Okay, so how do you impact the civil rights movement? Well, as I previously stated, I gave a speech in 1963 where I suggested the Civil Rights Law, which was later passed. This law made it illegal to discriminate based on sex, race, religion, because no man or woman should be discriminated against. Well, what did you hope to achieve? Well, I hope to give every American equal rights and freedom. I wanted it to be that no matter what, a black man or anyone else, if they walked into a job, they could get it based on merit and not prejudice holding them down. Okay, finally, how far did you make it? Along with Martin Luther King Jr., I helped to ban segregation and discrimination in the industry, as well as show it was perfectly fine to be black and help Martin Luther King do the same. Well, thanks for your time. Next up, we have Betty Friedan. So, what civil rights issue were you involved in? I was involved in civil rights issues like women's rights, and I didn't expect my book to take off like it did. I wanted to break traditional women's roles, and just saying you don't have to work in the kitchen and we're just the same as men. Well, what impact did you make on the civil rights movement? Well, I wrote The Feminine Mystique, where I went and recounted how women can do things and encourage women to break free and show that they could do more with their lives and that they weren't just as special as men. Okay, so for our last questions, we have, what did you hope to achieve? I wanted a better future for women. I mean, we are just like men. We are just as capable. I want to be able to walk into a job with the staff looking at me without prejudice in their eyes and judging me as I am, and on my knowledge, we're just equal. Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Martin Luther King Jr. So, what civil rights issue were you involved in? I was trying to make it so all my black and white brothers would be able to join hands together and live in equality with no hate. I want a future where that's not a problem. So how did you impact the civil rights movement? I did a lot of peaceful protests and spoke out against prejudice of a nation corrupt by their treatments of people of color. Okay, so what did you hope to achieve? I hope to make a future where white men and black men can join together and not spread hate. I want a future where my children and your children can go to the same school. I want a future without segregation and discrimination, and we will see it. Okay, so for our final question, I have, how far did you make it? Well, I got segregation banned with the help of John F. Kennedy and helped get the Civil Rights Act of 1963 passed, because I believe that we can work together in the same place. We are the same. Just because the color of my skin is different than yours does not mean that we're any different. And I want a future where people see that. Thank you for your time. So next up we have Strom Thurmond. So what civil rights movement were you involved in? Well, I'm against them. Segregation works and it should stay that way. They need to stay out of the jobs anyway. Same with the women. They belong in the kitchen. Okay, go on. So, how did you impact the civil rights movement? Well, I hope to push it back. Their efforts, and I tried to remain strict on segregation. I say keep it up. Okay, so for our last question, what did you hope to achieve? Well, I wanted to keep the black men in their place and keep them away from our children in their neighborhoods and schools because they are dangerous. Okay, we're just going to move on to Muhammad Ali. So, what civil rights issue were you involved in? I fought back to get black rights and helped to build a team in Louisville and organize which did help to build a backbone to civil rights movement. I also won some championships and belts. I really liked boxing. So, what impact did you make towards the civil rights movement? I helped to establish a backbone in the black rights in Louisville, and also with my time as a wrestler and my time as a police officer, and I helped to fight people's prejudice on black people in sports and normalize it because we're just the same. So, in all of this, what did you hope to achieve? I hope to go down in infamy in boxing, but also helped make it normal to see black people in boxing and make people know that it's right. I wanted them to know we are people just like them and we deserve rights. Okay, so for your last question, how far did you make it? I won a heavyweight championship as well as protected people with my job as a police officer, and also supported black rights, which I helped show that we deserve it. We are just the same. Okay, thank you for your time. Last up, we have the bibliography.